Hey guys, hope you're all having a great day. So I have a really exciting project today that our club is going to be doing for the first time actually. It's the first real project that we're going to be working on together. And if you are not aware, I go to Northern Vermont University, which is in like the Northeast Kingdom in Vermont. And so our club today is going to be planting garlic around campus. So because this is the first year and we don't have like a specific area for garden setup or anything like that, we're actually going to be planting it within different flower beds, just where there's space available, just to make it super easy. It's the middle of October and we were able to kind of just get this together within the last couple weeks. So we're just trying to make the process as easy as possible. But before we get started with actually planting it, I just wanted to talk about the garlic a little bit and show you exactly what we're gonna be planting. So I'm just gonna go over just a few basics with garlic. There's typically a soft neck and hard neck variety. Because we're a zone 4-ish around here, it's easier to plant hard neck varieties because they're a little more hardy, but you can still plant soft neck varieties. I also got the hard neck variety from, I got a donation for it, so I just am kind of working with what I have. But the variety that we're going to be planting today is called a German extra hardy, also known as German white. So you can kind of see what it looks like. You can tell that it's a hard neck because of the long stem right here. The soft neck wouldn't really have this necessarily. And I just wanted to mention the biggest thing between hard neck and soft neck is that typically soft necks will store a lot longer than the hard neck. So if you're planting this is going to be, or especially if you're planting both, it's better off to use the hard neck first and use it up within the first few months of harvesting it. Otherwise it could potentially go bad. But I think we're going to end up using it up anyways once it's harvested, because I'm sure there's a lot that we can do with it. So you can see what it looks like, and the way that garlic grows is you can see that this is an entire head of garlic, and when you break it apart, there's different parts to it. So you can see that there is a clove here, and then if I turn around, there's another clove. It's a little hard to see, but I'm gonna break this apart, and then you could see how many plants we're actually gonna get out of this one head of garlic. All right, so breaking this apart, you can see that there's a clove here. So I'm just gonna pull this away from the center gently, and you wanna work your way from the outside in. So here's another one. Now this variety tends to have larger cloves, and maybe not necessarily as many, but still a decent amount. And you just want to break them away from this center stem. So you can get rid of this, and then I'm left with a few more. Also, it may be tempting to like clean these off and get rid of all of this stuff as much as possible, like when you're cooking with it. But in this case, you actually don't want to do that because this is going to help protect them and allow them to actually have a higher chance of growing. So you can see we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 cloves out of this garlic right here. So we're gonna have 6 plants that we can plant. Now you can see that I have a bag right here which is actually filled with garlic. So I'm going to break apart the rest of these now just to make the planting process easier, and I'll show you exactly how many cloves we do have. Alright, so I counted about 83 cloves of garlic, so actually a little more than I was expecting. However, I have one more left, and I just wanted to show you a quick tip, especially when you're using the hard neck. This can't fully apply for a soft neck variety, but if you have a hard time getting the cloves apart, I just want to show you something that I kind of realized while I was doing this. The best way of doing it would be to kind of just, put some force to it and just kind of get rid of as many layers as possible just by kind of rubbing your hands back and forth on them. And then once you get it to a state like this, you can actually use the hard neck to your advantage, and you can kind of use it to pull one way and then like hold like half of it the other way. And typically it might take a couple tries, but you can loosen it. You can even like wiggle it back and forth like this to get some more layers off. And now you can really start to actually see the cloves. So from here, you should be able to grab it and just kind of pull. And then now you can see it's kind of splitting apart. So now you've kind of got it in half. You can set the one side off to the side, use this, and then the cloves are really easy to break apart. So now you got 3 more. So we have 84, 85, and 86. I'll leave those off to the side. And then with this, you can actually just pull this off like that. And then we got 87, 88, 89. All right, so now we've got a lot of cloves to plant, but there's one more thing that I want to go over before we plant them. And it's just the direction that you actually have to face the cloves, as well as the depth that you can plant them at. Just because it's easier to show you in here rather than outside, especially because it's kind of rainy today, so we'll see how well it goes out there. First of all, I just wanted to show you kind of what a good clove looks like that is uncovered and by itself, and that would kind of look like this. So you can see, especially with this specific variety, again, this is the German Extra Hardy or German White, either one. You can see that it still has some like reddish pink mixed in, and you can see that it looks like it has a thick outer layer. There's a tiny little thing there, but a better example of what it shouldn't look like would be this. Do you see how there's like that that side that doesn't have any of that like protective coating on that? So what happens, it's not that big of a deal. This is most likely still gonna grow anyways. The less that you can do this, the better, and it'll give them a higher chance of surviving. We also have been getting warmer temperatures, so hopefully it'll kind of like get used to its spot before we get into like really deep freezes for the winter time and everything, so that way this will be fine. But anyways, this is what a good clove looks like, and this is kind of what you want to avoid. The last thing that I just wanted to go over too would be the depth that you would plant them at. So what you would do is, these I would say are somewhere between like an inch and a half tall. They're not super big. Some of them on the larger side can be a little bit taller. Like this one is a little bit taller than the other one, but typically you want to plant them like 2 times that depth, or somewhere around like 2 to 3 inches deep. So a lot deeper than you would plant like regular seeds or that kind of stuff, because this is an entire bulb. But yeah, try to go like twice the depth of what the actual size of this would be. So around 2 to 3 inches is pretty good, but just make sure that you can't see it at all once you cover it up with dirt, and that it has a good layer on top of it. All right, so I'm outside on campus. We're kind of in like the central area where there's a lot of students that walk by, and there are some flower beds around here. So I'm gonna show you the 3 areas that we're gonna be planting this garlic. All right, so this is the first area that we have the garlic planted, and I don't think I mentioned this before, but you wanna space the garlic somewhere around like 6 inches apart. That honestly is probably a little more than 6 inches, but I'd rather give them extra room since we have the room in these beds. But we have them in the back side of this bed over here. Garlic tends to be on the taller side, so it'll get to be a decent size, and it's better off to put it more in the back. In this bed over here, this is just over to the right from where I was before. You can see that we have this garlic in this drift right over here. And I didn't count exactly how many cloves we have in each drift, but these are 2 of the smaller groups, so we have another one there. And then the last place is actually right in front of the dining hall. So the entrance to the dining hall is right over there, and we have 3 different drifts of it over here. Now you can kind of see them, but they've lost most of their leaves. We have 1, 2, 3, 4 blueberry bushes that they planted probably not that long ago, but I don't know exactly when. And we have 3 drifts of 15 of them. These are a little bit more organized, so they're kind of just like in rows, so it'll be easier to see. The only thing with these is that they're actually on the north side of the building, so we will see how well they'll grow, but I'm pretty optimistic that they'll be okay. So as you can see here, I'm gonna plant this garlic clove. It's actually a pretty small one, but the way that you would do it is just to make sure that this part is upright like I explained before, and then you would have this part as the bottom. And then you wanna just plant it pretty much twice the depth of this garlic clove. So I'm going to dig a hole here. And if your soil is pretty hard, like if you have like clay soil, then you wanna try to break it up as much as you can around the garlic clove, just so that way it gives the garlic room to grow, because obviously it's gonna produce more of these cloves. So once you have it pretty much twice the depth, then you can plant the garlic down in there and then cover it right up. Alright, so everything is planted. I'm back inside now because it was raining, but I do want to add one more thing. Just when you are planting garlic, if you decide to do so, just make sure that you do water it. We didn't water it just because it's raining and it's going to continue to rain, so they'll get a good deep soaking, but make sure you water it in the first time. And also, they probably won't end up showing any signs of growing until the spring, just because it's about the middle of October. Being in Vermont too, it's going to start to get below freezing many nights, and also there'll be snow on the ground pretty soon. So there's not much of a chance that they're going to grow above the ground, but they will be growing below the ground. So they'll spend the winter kind of in root development, focusing mainly on the roots, and then in the springtime you'll see them start to shoot up. And then most likely we'll probably harvest them around like July or something like that, which I probably won't be able to show you harvesting them, unfortunately, just because I will be back at home at that point. But we'll see what happens in that case. But that's pretty much all I had to share about the garlic. If you guys have any questions, comments, concerns, anything like that, feel free to put them in the comment section down below. I'll try to answer it as best as I possibly can. I hope you guys like this video, and I will see you in the next one.